Okay, hi everyone. My name's Eric Imler. I'm the director here at the WXW Youth Academy. Got a lot of stuff to fire through with the agenda. I just sent it out to you, so if you have it, you can follow along. If not, I'll send you a copy afterwards. But basically, we got 40 minutes to power through as much as we can to hopefully leave time at the end for some questions. So I'll try and go in order here. I might bounce around a little bit, but I'll fire away. Okay. So the Youth Academy, for those of you on the call who are new to the Youth Academy, I'm
That would
sure
be
there are a
us.
lot of questions,
Don't want to hear, but I also want to like.
but the Youth Academy is basically the U9s and U10s with the U8s and the U7s as the junior academy feeding into it. The way the program is structured and run is it's a big pool of players. We do not commit to hard rosters. We have the flexibility to move players as we see fit. We'll have that conversation multiple times with multiple players throughout the course of the year. If we see that they're struggling, we can push them down. If we feel like they're doing really well, we can push them up. It will be an ongoing conversation throughout the year, and we'll talk about it many times. We play 7 versus 7, 6 players and a goalkeeper. Typically 10 to 11 players per roster.
Can we get everyone to mute,
it would be
Eric?
great, guys, please. Great. The big thing is, how do we put players together? We, as a staff, look and evaluate players all the time, and we do our best to put like players with like players, meaning if we have really strong players, we try and put as many of them together as we can. Players that aren't as up to the mark at the time, we try and lump them together. So we don't have misbalanced teams. This is a source of controversy that we'll try and nip in the bud and be as transparent as we can with it. But the idea is we put like with like, and it's a moving target. As players develop at different rates, we try and monitor that and provide the right environment for those players at the right time. The curriculum in the Youth Academy is something that we, as coaches, have talked about over the course of the summer. We are more than happy to share that with those of you that are interested in learning more about it, the details of it. But we are trying to develop a player proficiency with a ball at their feet and their ability to read game pictures and make right decisions. 1v1, going at players, the ability to get by players, the ability to control a ball, the ability for players to get their heads up and see the game and make good decisions. We want to move the ball. We want to dominate in possession. We want to be able to build out of our back and get to the attacking half of the field and create goal scoring chances. I'm happy, those of you that know me, I'm happy to talk shop. So please feel free to reach out and we can have a chat anytime you like. 3 things that we talk about in the Youth Academy with our players all the time. Number 1, do your best, right? Show up and do your best. Number 2, have fun. This is supposed to be fun. Hard work, yes, but hopefully fun, enjoying what we're doing. And the third one, and probably the most critical one at this stage of the game, is players, please behave. Behave. You're there to do a job. This is not, we are not there to run a daycare service. It is not just, here you go, here's my kid, I'll see you in an hour and a half, right? Let's show up with the right attitude. Let's be ready to go. The sooner we can cross that bridge and hammer home that quality in every single one of our players, the further down the track we can go. So we can talk about that more in depth. I'm sure I'll be talking with some of you more about that in depth. We've talked to our coaches about the necessity to draw a hard line in the sand from day one. We want to have fun. We want all of those things, but we have to behave and we have to get something out of our limited time we have with these kids. the overriding thing we identified last year in a youth academy program that we want to stand for is that anytime we play anyone, we don't know that we're going to win. We don't know that we might not. But what we want to be sure of is that we have a grit type mentality. We're always going to be difficult to play against. We're willing to work hard. We're willing to fight, scratch, and claw to earn a result, to climb back into a game, or play in a more attractive style when it's necessary. But grit is something we're trying to get through to these young players. Coaching staff. Sent you a list right before the meeting of the coaching staff. Will that remain the same all the way through? Possibly. There might be a change in there, just depending on situations, but we've got a staff that we've been in touch with, and it's a new staff for anybody who's been here, largely a new staff. We're excited about it and looking forward to improve upon last year, right? We felt last year was very, very good, but can we raise the bar a little bit more this year? Training schedule. I sent that out with the calendar. The training schedule, it's a little bit more confusing this year in terms of the number of teams, the times, the age groups, and when they train. But you have that in the calendar. Essentially, the U7 boys, U7 girls, U8 girls, and U9 girls will go from 5:30 to 6:45 on field 6. At the same time, the U9 boys will train on field 7, right across the parking lot. At 7 o'clock on field 6, the U8 boys and the U10 girls will be on field 6, while the U10 boys will be on field 7. Okay, so that's the breakup of how it's going to go. The U10 boys development group will train on Mondays and Wednesdays, while the rest of us will train on Tuesday, Thursdays. That U10 development group will train at 7 o'clock on field 7, Mondays and Wednesdays. Next item, optional training, technical training. We're going to change up the look of it for anybody who attended last year. It will have a different look and feel. That will begin in September. The dates are on the calendar. It will typically be on field 7. We'll notify you of that. We will notify you of that if it changes. But all that information is there. I know on Sports Engine, I think it went out that would start in August. It will not. It will start in September, and those dates are on the calendar. Goalkeeper training. I just spoke with Coach Nate with goalkeeper training. He's going to send out an email probably starting next week, but on the 14th of August, he will begin goalkeeper training, which will be at the same time. I believe it's 5 o'clock on field 8 on Wednesdays. Wednesday, August 14th is the first training session for goalkeepers, but you'll get an email on the specifics of that probably this week or beginning of next week. Tomorrow night we start preseason camp. Just so you know, well, first of all, the scheduling of it will look no different than a regular training night. So there's nothing unusual about that. The only exception is for the U10 development group. They will come and train with us all week. So the U10 development group will train with the U10 boys schedule. So they'll train at 7 o'clock on field 7. We are going to treat this preseason camp very similar to a tryout. Okay. We have this big group of players. We are going to decide as a staff what we think. We're going to compare notes, and that's how we will begin the placement of players in teams, by our conversations and how we rate them. But we're going to treat it largely like a tryout again, just like what you did in May. We'll see who has become more seasoned and gotten better over the summer, who we feel should go where. For that reason, I would love it, and I'm just going to throw it out. I hope it doesn't explode in my face here, but I'm going to throw it out and hope that many of you have your tryout shirt still. It is a quick way for us to identify 125 kids. It has a number on it. Hopefully, we recognize them by face. We know, boom, we know who that is. But if we get into a situation where it's a new face that we don't recognize quite yet, we can just refer to the number and a quick evaluation. So this week at team camp, if possible, can you please wear that tryout shirt? If you cannot, you don't have it, whatever, no problem. Wear the regular training top. I think it's a nice shade of yellow. So we'll go with that. But preseason camp, just like regular training times, will start Monday. We will not have Tuesday due to the Chelsea Real Madrid match at Bank of America, which many of you have told me you are attending. So we'll go Monday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. I do see rain in the forecast. We'll cross our fingers that Mother Nature stays away. But that is the plan for preseason camp. We'll be playing a lot of games. We'll probably do a little bit of activation in the beginning, maybe something technical, just so we have a good look at everyone. And then we'll probably put them in a variety of small-sided games, and we'll rotate the coaching staff so you get multiple eyes on each kid so we can get a fair evaluation. Next one here, game schedule, also in the calendar that was sent to you, so you can refer to that. As you can see, we do not attend a a tournament in the fall, but we have planned games versus NC Fusion, which is up Greensboro area, probably about an hour and 20, 25 minutes, hour and 30 minutes up the road. That day will be unlike most days where when we go and we play, we typically play one game. Some players get 2 games. On this day, because we're traveling so far, every player will get 2 games. That's the way we're going to try and schedule it. So that game, don't have it here in front of me, but it's the NC Fusion play date. We'll go up there, get 2 games. As you can see from the rest of the schedule, most of the stuff is close. I think the furthest we travel is maybe Huntersville. We try and keep it pretty tight. The game schedule for the 9s and 10s will typically be about 12, 13 games for the fall season. The U8s we will schedule them as often as our opponents have a U18. But the U8s may not travel every single weekend when the U9s and U10s do. The U8s can probably count on getting 8 to 9 weekends of games. We will try and get more in there, but it all depends on who has U8s as we go to schedule them week to week. The U7s will largely play, they would largely train at Nesbitt Park. The U7s are a developmental team. Development always implies making decisions that benefit long-term growth and long-term participation. When we go into games, oftentimes games kind of interrupt that programming where we're looking to win, and we kind of sometimes break the rules of development. In a training environment, we can kind of keep a stronger handle on that. We'll try and get the 7s some games as well when other clubs have U7s. Not every club has U7s. So hopefully that makes sense. But the U7s can count on every Saturday being scheduled probably around 1 o'clock at Nesbitt with Coach Jeff Mercado. We'll elaborate more as we need to on games, but you'll hear from me on that. What else is on the agenda here? I lost my page. Oh, the social event. So August 24th, 2 p.m. We're going to play that day at Nesbitt against CSA Matthews. They're coming to us. After that, there will be a social event at the Tap House down in Waxhaw, where we'll try and get together. We'll get the kids together. the opportunity to meet and greet, say hello, all those good things. Grab a beer if you like, but it'd be a good opportunity to say hi. This event was put on last year with great success and great feedback, so we figured we should probably do it again. We do it early in the season as a kickoff. It's maybe a way to build community and bring everybody together a little bit more. The last question or the last bullet point I want to deal with here is the spring tournament. So last year, for those of you who were here, we went to Myrtle Beach. We took as many teams as we could to the Myrtle Beach tournament. It was a massive endeavor. With the help of a lot of folks in the club, we pulled it off, and I think overall, I think it was very, very well received, and to the point that we feel we should go back. The issue this year is it falls on spring break. So a number of days ago, I sent out a poll on would your child be available if it conflicts with the last weekend of spring break. So far, I think we've gotten, I don't know, probably about 100 replies. We're about 75-25. 75 would go, 25% would not. Those numbers are pretty good. We're going to have to address it again to figure out. It makes things complicated because we'll get into a situation where we have teams and they're formed and they're training together and all this about gelling and all of that stuff. And then we'll have, a handful of players that won't be able to make it. How do we deal with training? How do we go about it? How do we prepare the best? It's a spring break week. Do we even train that week because anybody's around? Typically we have off, so we probably wouldn't be training anyway. So we have to address all of those things, figure out where it stands, but wanted to throw, just a tester out to see where everybody stood with the idea of returning to that event. We as a club have to make plans pretty early, not to get our place in line to attend the tournament, but to fundraise properly for the event. We kicked this off in probably January of last year, February, late January, I don't know what it was. And the club and our members did a fantastic job of fundraising quite a lot of funds to attend the event. If we decide that we're going to return to this event, which I know I would like to for all of our groups, I thought it was fantastic. We'd like to really get ahead of it and plan to start to save money, to do events, to fundraise. So it's a little easier to attend. The tournament is not cheap. The hotels are not cheap. It's 3+ hours away. It's a big commitment. But I also feel like it's a pretty good thing for our young players, our families. It's a pretty good experience. So it would be nice to commit to that. On top of that, there are not a lot of other options that we have in the month of April. So our only real other option, if we're going to attend a tournament of any kind in the spring, would be to do it in March, maybe February. It's not really the ideal time to do it, but we have to have our answer so I can plan accordingly with setting a schedule for the spring. That schedule starts being planned on by November. So if you have not filled out that survey, I ask that you do it, and you do it here in the next week, if possible, just so we have a good idea of where we stand. I'd really like to know that answer. I know I've left off something. I know I've left off plenty probably, but that's me rifling through a quick hit list. What I wanted to do, I think we have a little bit of time. That went faster than I thought it would. I'd like to be able to open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, please unmute, ask it to the group. I'll answer, do my best anyway. If I don't have an answer for you now, I'll get you one. So if you have an answer or have a question, hit unmute, ask it to the group, and I'll answer.
Just to confirm, for this week, are they wearing the yellow uniform or the one with the numbers on the back?
If you have the tryout shirt with the number on the back, I'd love it if you could wear that. If you do not have that, wear the yellow as a backup.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coach Eric, I have a question for you. The practice this week starts at the same time that they would practice normally or different
Correct.
times?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So just follow the regular practice schedule. Yeah, 5:30 to 6:45, and then we'll bring the new crew in at 7.
So, got it. Thank you.
You got it.
If we
Question,
don't,
do we have
oh,
game times yet? Sorry, do we have game times yet? I thought on the schedule it only said the days. Do we have
Yes.
times or am I just missing it? I'm sorry.
So good question. The way that works is we do not have times listed yet because when it comes to working with another club, they don't quite know what they have yet because it's a big pool of players. So they don't know what levels, how many. The general practice I try and live by is probably 10 to 14 days. I try and get that schedule out to everyone. I know everybody needs to plan, but just know going into this that that we're at the mercy of the other youth academy directors. Most of our games are away. I only schedule those games that are at home. And those games are only our first couple weekends. We are mostly on the road simply because our facility has to accommodate baseball and EDP. That starts right after Labor Day, and the parking lot is an absolute mess. So on purpose, I schedule us to be away a majority of the fall. I got a question here in the chat. Can I confirm that the U7 girls will more than likely play at 1 p.m. at Nesbitt unless we have another team to play? Yes, that is correct. Yes. I will communicate that with you week to week as to what the schedule will be, but yes, that is largely correct.
Is there a backup plan if we don't do the tournament in Myrtle? Is there one that would there be one that's a traveling
Well,
tournament?
the issue we're going to run into is timing. Okay, so we've done some research and looking at other events. There's next to nothing in the month of April. We typically end the season the last days of April and start tryouts the first days of May. There's a tournament we could go to in Greenville, South Carolina, but it's not till the 5th and 6th of May. So ideally, I'd like to go to an event in April and be kind of our wrap-up event for the year. The timing of the Myrtle Beach tournament is perfect, other than the fact that Union County Schools wanted to put spring break at that time. Shame on them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
all right. Can you just confirm, and forgive me if you said this already, but besides this week's preseason camp, the official first day for the U10 and U8 Academy for practice on Tuesdays, Thursdays, is that the 13th?
Let me look at a calendar. Sounds right. It's that next week. So this coming week is the 5th through the 9th. So Tuesday the 13th would be the first for the 8s and the 10s. The developmental group, the U10 developmental group, will start on the 12th, that Monday.
Okay, and I know I emailed you about this, but forgive me, I'm still a little confused. The dates you gave for the games, they do start in August or they start in September?
Yeah, so games will start on the 17th, August
Okay.
17th.
Got it.
We will be at home. That's FC Atletico coming to us. The following week, the 24th, is CSA Matthews. They will come to us at Nesbitt.
Okay.
The following weekend, I believe, is Labor Day. No games that weekend. And then the madness at Nesbitt Park starts. We go on the road.
Got it. Thank you.
But it's all in that calendar there. Jennifer Spencer asking, will it be an issue? No, not an issue. U10 developmental training night stop after November on most. Yes. So our last games of the fall season, November 9th, I believe it is, somewhere around there. The week leading up to November 9th will be the last week of training for the fall season. So if I've messed that up on the calendar, you shouldn't be surprised. I'm sorry, I'll correct it. And Steve asking the difference between director of coaching and the director of academy. Just look at, so the question is, I'm the director of academy. Jeff Mercado is the director of coaching. Can you describe the difference in responsibilities so we understand who's the correct person to go with questions or concerns? Let's just make it simple. If anybody has any issues with anything involved in U7, U8, U9, or U10, come to me. If you go to Jeff before you come to me, that's okay too. Jeff and I speak enough that we will get your question sorted, fixed, addressed in any way, shape, or form. But just to make it easy, anybody who is on this call, if you ever have a problem or a concern about anything, you come to me, and I'll try and get it answered. If not, I'll steer you in the right direction. Can we poll people to see if we can? Yeah. So can we poll people to see if the event in May is a better approach? Spring break is literally one of the only weeks we can vacation all year with disrupting sports. I get it. Anything is possible. That's all I'll say. Anything is possible. That's why we're trying to get an early jump on it. And we'll just keep communicating on what the quorum is for everyone, and we'll figure out what to do. But it is an issue, obviously, with some people.
Didn't come over to use the bathroom, but his sister did.
Going to
Sorry, I've been wanting to listen to this movie in a while.
Going to a tournament in May. We'll just have this conversation now. Going to a tournament in May and delaying our tryouts because we are a smaller club, it puts us at a risk. Let's just put it that way. We want to be out in front of tryouts early. We're trying to build some momentum and all of those things. If we are late out of the gate with tryouts, oftentimes folks will get lured into trying out somewhere else and maybe not try out at Waxhaw. We want to give them the opportunity. We want to be on a level playing field with everyone else. So if we bump into May, we potentially put our club at risk for not being on a level playing field. I hope that makes sense. We can talk about it more. Take it offline. We'll talk more about it, and I'll try and answer your questions a little bit more succinctly. Will the SE schedule reflect the date and time practice and game or communicate? So when it comes to the games, like I said, 10 to 14 days, I'm going to try and get that in your hands in terms of scheduling. Sometimes it's more like 7 to 10 days. Times, field locations, who's playing who. That's what all comes out 7 to 14 days prior to the event. We wish we could be out in front of it a little bit more, but it's proven year after year that is not the case very often. So just count on knowing your weekend schedule about 7 to 10 days in advance. Any other questions? I'm flying through the group chat questions here. Anyone else?
Just one quick one, Eric. Can you confirm that if I have a U10 girls and a U8 boys academy, youth academy and junior academy, they practice Tuesday, Thursday, they're also the same time, 7 to 8:15?
U8 girls?
No, U8 boys, U10 girls.
U8 boys, 7 o'clock. U10 girls, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
U8 boys, field 6. U10 girls, field 6.
Oh, perfect. Same place. Thank you.
Jackpot.
Thank you.
Jackpot.
Yeah, that works out. Thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell everybody, because I have a feeling I'll have to say it again. I want you to know that in order for this to work well, what typically happens is I learn of issues that you have with the coach, with me, with anyone in the academy. I typically learn it. I become aware of it way after the fact. If you haven't heard it already, I'm going to say it now. I'll repeat it all the time. We are in the business of youth development. It is a difficult task. It's a moving target. But what I often tell parents is if we're going to do this right and have any success, it takes an absolute village. If, some young players are, are hardwired and they're focused, laser focused, and they're all about it. Others, it's not the case. But what they are at 8 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old does not mean that they will look the same at 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. We don't know. But please know this. I am largely motivated to prepare players to be ready for the next level, whether that's going from U8 to U9, U10 to U11, whatever it is, whatever this stretch is, when they cross into U11 soccer, whether it's here at Waxhaw, at another club, doesn't matter. When they're ready to take that next step, I hope we have done a job in our program to best prepare them for that next step. But how many times as a coach have I gotten the feeling that a parent looks at me and says, you had a job to do with my kid. I dropped him off here twice, him or her off twice a week for an hour and 15 minutes. And I don't feel like my player's getting better. So then I have to then come back and say, what was the environment at home? Was your child working at it? Was your child watching games? Was your child going to games? Are they interested in the international game, the domestic leagues? Do they play pickup games on a Friday or a Sunday? What are they doing? Was the environment here so poor that they got nothing out of it? Or was it a situation where it's only, they're just showing up for an hour and 15 minutes twice a week and, that's about it. So if we're in this together and we want development to happen and we're interested in getting our child to the next level, we as a coaching staff really need your help, mom and dad, because most of the hours of the week, they're with you. So you may be very experienced, you may be a player, you may be a parent who knows nothing. Either way, I'm asking you to be involved and to ask questions, to email me, to call me. Let me know where you stand, how you feel about it. Are you heavily involved? Are you not? How can we help you? The dialogue with the coaching staff is please communicate regularly, often. Let them know what you see, how you're feeling about your group. So we're going to try and do the best job we can on our end. We're asking you as parents to please be as involved as you can and let us know where you stand so we know what conversations to have. In the end, we just want your player to be in a position to graduate to the next level, whatever that is. That's success for us. Hopefully that makes sense. But I say it over and over and over again. My door is always open. Please email, please call. My number's on every email. I'm out at the fields most nights. Grab me, have a chat. I love it. So I'll say that now. I'm sure I'll say that again. But we're running out of time. Everybody good? Any other questions before we go? One more chat question. Hold on. Will there be ongoing evaluations for team placement movements throughout the season, or are the August placements going to be permanent? Always evaluations, always the opportunity to move. As a coaching staff, I'm encouraging all the coaches to constantly talk about players. Give them the opportunity to train with another team, to play an additional game with another team, if they feel they deserve it. So you know, look, the way you see it, the way a coach sees it, they may not line up exactly. What I will ask is that you have trust and faith in the process. Know that it's a long game. It's not it's not the 100-meter sprint. We're not trying to win a World Cup by the age of 11. We're going to try and be fair and transparent and all of those things. It's not always the easiest job, but we'll do our best. If you have a question, please reach out. You're not bothering me. So many parents say, I don't want to be that parent that's always bug me, please. Then I know, I know you're interested in getting an answer instead of waiting to the end when it's too late. So please reach out. Please say something. I'll do my best.
Hey,
Okay.
Eric, is there a preferred method of communication for you? Is it email? Is it text? Is it phone call?
Yeah, either email, text, or phone call is my preferred method.
Okay.
So, okay, everyone, we're running out of time. Thank you for jumping on. We will see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.